Hello, people. This is Reverend Raven Youngblood. I thought I might do a podcast. And start this little episode of talking about some of the things that are going on in the world today. A lot of people are talking about the gun laws and the school shootings. And as much as I feel for the families that lost loved ones, we have to realize something. The criminal element, a lot of people don't understand. I don't think a lot of people understand the criminal element to begin with. Um, Criminals don't abide by laws, which is kind of what makes them criminals. It's kind of why they end up in prison for doing horrific things like murder, rape, robberies, um, fraud, forgery, things like that. And to think that we as Americans are safer by eliminating guns from good people is a ridiculous notion. A lot of these guns that criminals obtain are ghost guns. They are manufactured either out of the country or in the country by machine presses, 3D printers, um, different types of machinery, the higher tech machinery that they have, like for a machine shop, the higher grade weapons that they can manufacture. They can manufacture any gun that's available on the market today. AR-15s, AK-47s, M16s, M16A1s, the M1 carbine. I mean, they can pretty much manufacture any weapon that they want. Gunpowder can be manufactured. Bullets can be manufactured. So to think that a criminal who wants to commit a mass shooting or a criminal that wants to deal drugs on the streets and wants to carry a firearm, or a criminal that wants to rape women or to rob stores or rob people, that they can't get a gun because you made guns illegal is ludicrous. If you look at Europe, they have the strongest gun laws in the world today. And look at just Google it. Google Wales and homemade machine guns. Europe and homemade machine guns. They're literally pulling fully automatic machine guns that are manufactured in somebody's basement from the hands of criminals in Europe, in Wales, where there's absolutely like 100% gun laws in effect. So to think that America is going to magically put up 100% gun laws in effect and it's just going to stop all of our problems is ludicrous. It's ignorant. I mean, the facts are all against the entire narrative that gun control actually works. You cannot regulate something that you know nothing of. If you don't know the gun exists because somebody manufactured it in their basement, an AR-15 that was fully automatic with a 35 round clip or a 30 round clip, uh, you know, if they manufactured it in somebody's basement, how do you know it even exists until you pull it off of the hands of a kid who bought it from a street dealer and took it to a school and did a mass shooting with it? And then what are you going to cry? Oh, let's stop how to manufacture guns. Well, then you got to stop machine shops. Machine shops manufacture car parts, uh, industrial equipment, your tools. Machine shops, anything that's made of metal, a machine shop that makes it. So you would have to literally like make machine shopping illegal. So you'd have to take an entire American trade that pretty much produces everything that we use in America and make it illegal so that nobody can manufacture guns. You see how stupid that is? Do you see how ignorant that whole concept is? You cannot, it doesn't matter if you make guns 100% illegal and pull them out of the hands of every good American in the country. Criminals will still have an abundance of guns. Why? Because they manufactured 1,000 a day across the country, from warehouses to garages to basements to small little villages in Mexico that ship them over the border. Literally thousands of guns per day will still be manufactured, still be sold to criminals, and still end up on our streets. You know how criminals get Chicago guns? They pull them from the train yards. They rob the trains, so they steal them. They've got 100% walls in effect that protect those firearms from the manufacturing facility that's legal, and licensed to the gun store that's legal and licensed, and the criminals in Chicago go to the train yards, and when the trains stop to to get water, fuel, everything that they need, maintenance between trips, the criminals are going into those train yards, breaking into the cars, breaking into the crates, and they're pulling literally crates of firearms off of these trains, and then they're distributing them out into the street. It's like a smorgasbord of guns, free guns for everybody. So, to act like criminals are going into a gun store, filling out a background check, or going to a gun show and buying 15 guns and then putting them on the street is ludicrous. Chicago has some of the strongest gun laws in effect in the nation, and it's one of the most violent cities and the most gun violence in the entire country. So, I just want Americans to wake up to the fact that criminals manufacture their own weapons. They manufacture their own guns. You don't believe me? Go to YouTube. Type in ghost guns. Type in homemade machine guns. Type in ATF homemade guns. And you'll have videos of the ATF agency going through their vaults, showing you all the homemade machine guns that they've confiscated from 1920 to now. In order to have criminals not have guns, you have to wipe out the memory of gun making completely from the world. You would have to take the world, wipe out their minds of every aspect of manufacturing from their memory. Just wipe it clean. And is that feasible, or is that really going to happen? No, obviously not. People in villages in the Philippines with no electricity have small little cardboard plates that they make 45 caliber firearms with. They make AR-15s. They make MAC-10 submachine guns. None of them are registered. None of them have numbers. All of them hit American streets, just like the kilos of cocaine or the heroin. So let's wake up, America. Let's stop being stupid, and let's actually use our intelligence and our brains and come up with a good solution. Is arming our teachers a good idea? I think it is. But like, our president said, if you would listen to him, Trump said that only certain teachers that meet background checks and qualifications to have firearms would have firearms, ones that were willing to do it. You don't want to put a liberal snowflake with a firearm because they'll back the shooter up. You'll have a school shooting and you'll have the liberal opening up doors for them so they can get mass murder their children. That's what liberal teachers do. They back everything that has to do with the criminal activity. So, I'm just saying, use your brains. Don't be an idiot. Gun control only makes you a victim. If you vote for gun control, you're basically voting for the criminal to be able to rape, rob, and murder anybody he wants to with a gun, because you've done victimize the entire country. That's not something that you want to do. Whether you're pro-gun or not pro-gun or anti-gun, it really doesn't matter. The point is, you're victimizing innocent people. People that have been raped, people that have had been robbed and have almost been murdered, that they've had their life almost taken away from them, where they ended up in the hospital in intensive care because they didn't have a firearm or they couldn't protect themselves. Even an anti-gunner is always an anti-gunner until he's a victim of a crime. Once he becomes a victim of a horrific crime, he becomes a gun lover. All of a sudden, he becomes an advocate for guns, for gun laws, for the NRA and everything. He's like, I'm pro-gun all the way. So any person that's like a non-gunner, that's like anti-guns, I don't want guns in my life, will change their mind 100% once they're raped, robbed, their life is almost taken from them, and they had no way of defending themselves, and they actually feel what it's like to have that fear, to be that victim. Once they have that victim status, they're totally pro-gun because they're scared to death that that's going to happen again. Now, do you really want to subject the rest of these people in America, your countrymen and women, to that, victimhood, where they cannot defend themselves, where they have no ability to protect themselves? That's what you're doing, because you will never stop criminals from having guns. As long as a criminal can manufacture everything that it takes to build a gun, to make the gunpowder, and to make everything that he needs. He can make bombs if he wants to, mustard gas if he wants to. I mean, you cannot stop what you do not know that exists. If it doesn't exist, in your mind you think you're safe, but you're not. Because in his basement he's manufacturing a fully automatic MAC-10. And he's got himself a couple pipe bombs and some hand grenades that he made, homemade. You know what I'm saying? So don't get into that false reality of, well, there's a law there, so obviously we're all protected. We're not. You're in danger of being robbed, raped, or murdered on a daily basis throughout America. The fact that we have this false narrative that everybody's safe all the time is just untrue. There's a lot of sick individuals out there, and that's where the problem lies. The problem lies in humanity. The problem lies within the sick individual. Because as long as that sick individual wants to go on a mass shooting, he can go find a ghost gun. He can go find a manufactured gun or manufacture one of his own and come out and just mass murder everybody. Would you rather them have an AR-15 that shoots one bullet per trigger pull, or manufacture a fully automatic MAC-10 in his basement that fires 120 rounds in 1.2 seconds? You know what I'm saying? I mean, you're basically upgrading your criminals. You take away their ability to have guns that aren't that lethal, and then making them so they have to manufacture guns of their own, which they're going to make completely lethal by making them fully automatic. Because why not? You're manufacturing it. It's already illegal. You're going on a shooting spree. You're probably going to die. So what the hell? Make it fully automatic. You see what I'm saying? You're feeding the problem. We need to stop that. All right, well, God bless you all. I hope you have a good night. I don't want to ramble on, but just keep that in mind. You can't stop what the government doesn't know exists in the first place with some stupid law that criminals won't follow to begin with. Get some common sense, people. Treat each other well. God bless.